My groceries just arrived. Okay, so where was I? So I had this horrible birth experience, except that I had a beautiful, blessing of a baby, and that was my priorities changed immediately. Once I had my son, my priorities changed immediately, and I was just not going to humor bullshit anymore. Like it was like an overnight experience of, wow, I am now responsible for another human being, and I can't tolerate bullshit anymore. So the hospital stay was miserable because my husband was miserable, and on the last day that we were there in the hospital, I was expecting my family to arrive so we could take pictures with the baby. And my husband, for whatever reason, I think all I can think is that he was just doing things to purposely torment me, because I don't know why he would do this. The hospital staff said that I could not be discharged until at least 5 p.m. He flipped that and made it that we had to be out by 5 p.m. It was backwards. It was I had to stay at least until 5, not that I had to be out by 5. So he and his mom came over to the hospital room and started packing everything up, including my mom's cameras, my things. They started packing everything up, so we didn't have cameras, and they were trying to usher me out of the room before my family even arrived so that we could take these pictures. And basically, like, he had my little Toyota Tercel. It was a hatchback. And the nurses came in and asked me if he was abusing me, like if he was physically abusing me. And I said, no, he just verbally abuses me. But it was such a production. It was such a horrible experience, such a scene, that the nurses actually let me walk out of the hospital. And for any of you moms out there, you know that doesn't fucking happen. When you leave the hospital after having a baby, they wheel you out in a wheelchair. They just wanted us gone. They wanted us gone. I walked out of that hospital. He drove me and the baby home in my Toyota Tercel. I had a C-section, so I'm like also kind of like really self-conscious about having a seatbelt on and stuff, because I don't know if he doesn't drive well, it could like potentially rip open my stitches and stuff. I was like really nervous about this situation. I told him straight up he couldn't stay with me that night. He needed to find another place to sleep because I was so mad at him. I just couldn't even do it. He ended up spending all of the money in our bank account. We had a joint account. And he was gone for 2 weeks. When he came back, I asked him what happened to our money, and he said he bought shorts. $2,000. He said he bought shorts. So I put him on a budget. And basically what I did is, anytime he had direct deposit. So anytime he had some money, I would take all the money, put it in a separate account, and put him on a budget. So I said, you've proven that you were irresponsible with money. I'm going to put you on a budget. So I took all that money and I saved up to get a lawyer so I could get divorced. And that is how I enacted this. In the meantime, he had purchased a truck. And I had to co-sign for him because his credit wasn't good enough for him to be able to purchase that truck on his own. So I had co-signed. He stopped making payments on it. So he was ruining my credit. And so a couple months later, when I had enough money, I could hire an attorney, I could do what I needed to do, I kicked him the fuck out of my house and I said, we're getting divorced. And it's kind of funny, like the night that this happened, he had come home from his long haul truck drive and he got into bed with me and I was acting like I was asleep. He put his big toe against like my calf, and I moved my leg. And he said, "Oh, you can't even bear for me to touch you." And I'm like, "No, I can't. Can't even fucking bear for you to touch me." And then he did what he had done to me 2 times before. He had done this already 2 times before. I even had called his parents, his stepmother and his father, for assistance with this. He did what he had done to me 2 times before, which was he claimed that he was going to commit suicide. But this time I wasn't falling for it. This time I said, "Go ahead and do it. And don't you dare think that I'm going to feel responsible for your bad decisions. I'm not dealing with this shit anymore. You want to commit suicide? You go commit suicide." And I kicked him the fuck out of my house. But on top of it, like I said, he had this truck that he wasn't making payments on, that my name was on. So I had a spare key to it. We took that truck because I knew where he hung out. I knew he was going to be hanging out at Denny's all night with all his buddies. So we took that truck and we brought it back to my house, put a club on it, and then hid in the patio while he got a ride from one of his buddies. And we could hear him come up the driveway, look inside the truck, and say, "She put a club on it." And then he left. And then I fucking sold that truck the next day. That helped me pay for my attorney too. Don't fuck with me.